All right, I call the December 15th meeting of the North Lake City Council order at 7:01. Oh, please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Lori, could you do a roll call, please?
Thank you. Mayor Dumbrell,
Present.
Councilor Page.
Here.
Councilor Hagedorn.
Here.
Councilor Pippin. Present. And Councilor Redden. Here. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. And I'm gonna add one thing real quick. It's not on the agenda, but after talking with Chair of the Washington County Commissioners, I think we should have some good news today. So if you haven't been outside, there's a lot of Christmas lights and it looks great. So you should get outside and look at the Christmas lights. That's my good news for this meeting. All right, so let's move on to the consent agenda. Entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda and the meeting minutes from December 1st.
I move to approve the agenda from December 1st.
Okay, I have a motion to approve for December 1st. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, moved by Councilor Pippin, seconded by Councilor Hagedorn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, now we move on to public comment. Is there any public comment for it?
I did not receive anything prior to tonight's meeting. Nothing.
Okay.
No.
Let the record reflect, there is no public comment. We'll move on to staff reports. So, sorry for not giving you more time, but if Robin, if you want to come up for library.
That is remarkably speaking. Robin Doty, library director here, and I'll just say that the library's craft holiday sale, excuse me, run by the Friends now, it has been wildly successful. So far in the first week, they already surpassed the amount they raised last year. So I'll be getting an update soon. And as a 501(c)(3), their sole purpose is to support the library with whatever funds they raise, and that adds additional programs and items to check out for the people of North Plains. I just wanted also to draw attention to the featured program, their digital navigator support. That is made possible through coordination from a Washington County employee who also leads the broadband action team. And that was a position that was created with ARPA funds that has one more year. And so I just wanted you to know that we find that partnership very valuable in North Plains. It's every Tuesday, 10 to 2. People can make appointments to learn how to use online tools, you know, learn the internet, learn devices. And so we just want to share we find a lot of value in that program and hope it can continue past the year when.
It might have gone. Gosh. That's okay. We have.
And does anyone have any questions? I can talk loud. I can talk loud now.
What do you have any questions for library?
Counselor Redding here. What's the average attendance rate of the 10 to 2 course class?
I don't have an average attendance rate right now, but they do 30-minute appointments
Mhm.
and they're generally taken. I mean, they're not always completely booked ahead of time, but there'll be walk-ins who they'll help in those empty spots. So I can get more specific numbers later, though. They'll evaluate it periodically.
Thank you.
Do we have any updates on the Giving Tree? I'm just curious. I saw it on Facebook, so I just was curious.
Yeah,
so, let's see, the deadline to turn in tags, I believe they wanted them by this Friday. And most of the tags were taken, I think, they had a lot of, they added some extra ones just for additional gift cards, cause they're adding some, more housing, areas this year. But I think it's done really well. The volunteers come and pick up the items pretty quickly, so they're not sitting there in the vestibule. But all the things have come in.
Excellent. Thank you. Anybody? Oh, Counselor Hagedorn.
Councilor Hagedorn speaking, let the record reflect for AI.
Thank you.
I have a question with regards to your craft fair, coming from I'm a self-professed procrastinator when it comes to Christmas shopping. Can you remind me the sale hours?
The holiday sale?
Yeah.
So it's going on inside the library, all the hours that the library is open. So 10 to 7, Monday through Friday, and 10 to 5 on Saturday. It'll be going through Christmas Eve, and there's lots of, it's called the holiday sale now, because it's not just crafts, but it's all holiday themed.
Great, thank you.
All right, anybody else?
Counselor Redding, one more time. Could you please pass on a great big thanks to the volunteer team who assembled the 44 winter adventure kits?
I will,
Those are
thank you.
wonderful. Do you know, are any still available?
They were all pre-registered for,
Oh,
and given out,
okay.
so.
All right, anybody else? All right, now to Chief Jones.
Do we
Oh,
want
sorry.
a different mic over here for the rest of our? I know Chief Jones can project.
I don't know which one is having longest.
That's battery.
Oh, actually, the light's on.
Oh, no, it's ready.
Well, I don't know.
Where's that? Oh, no.
Well, it's blinking red, so it might have gone off.
And if you tell me the batteries, I probably have that. This is a short cord.
My mom was one for the mic board.
She'll take hers. Yeah, this is that. Oh, right.
I think it's useful, really, in this part. We go on, no. What's happening? It's really good, like, really close, over here. Hold on, this is the.
We just give you words.
I can just sit over there by one, sit by Lori.
Go sit by me.
And. So we'll charge this, do you not charge the background then? No. No, it's really chargeable. The other guy is,
We appreciate that.
Yes, he's our IT guy.
Okay, good evening. I don't have anything to add to my report. I just want to highlight the Jessie Mae's exterior bathroom graffiti photos and the notes I put in my report. That's about the second or third time that I can remember off the top of my head in the last month and a half that we've had that repeat problem in the bathrooms here at Jessie Mae's. As you can see from the photos in my report, it's pretty extensive, the amount of damage that was done. I will give props to Public Works as soon as they're getting it cleaned up, which is management 101, is to get it out of the way and cleaned up as soon as you see it. But the damage, it keeps going on. Whoever's doing this, unfortunately, is ripping, copious amounts of paper towels out of the dispenser, shoving it down the toilets, breaking up the plastic shrouds around the plumbing, and extensive, permanent marker damage to the walls. So we don't have necessarily a fail-safe solution to it, unfortunately. Obviously, it's a nice public service to have the bathrooms open to the public where the park is open. We are working on, with Public Works, trying to limit those hours that the restrooms are open on a more strict basis, kind of depending on the season. And then some other mitigation efforts I'm sure Dustin can talk about in his report, but I just want to highlight that specifically. One I did note also that just the increase in calls, domestic violence and nature disturbances in nature, this kind of seasonal for us. So we are definitely seeing that, experiencing that currently in North Plains. But outside of that, I don't have anything else outlined, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Councilman, David?
Councilor Piven, Chief Jones, I'm just curious, is there any way to have surveillance on the bathrooms? I know we have surveillance in the parking lot, Jesse's.
We do have one camera externally here that is non-operational. And so we're working on temporary solution to try to get some exterior surveillance on the restrooms. But we don't have anything in place yet. We have some solutions in the works, but they're still, to my knowledge, as of this evening, they're still closed. And so once those reopen, we hopefully have something in place that can kind of help give us some better surveillance externally. To see if we can figure out kind of who's kind of responsible for doing this damage.
To speak about that, when we first had the bathrooms installed, we were worried about people living in there, what's gonna happen in that? It's close to a playground, can somebody grab a kid, have some privacy? So the bathrooms that we don't wanna have happen. So we decided to put a camera out, not in the bathrooms, but facing it. This way we could have kind of narrowed down when something happens, we could review that process. Unfortunately, the camera appears to be broken. So maybe we gotta figure out a more robust system for that, or repair the camera. But that's the reason why we install the cameras out there, is public safety,
Yeah,
right?
it would make sense.
So, yes, maybe you have a couple, where, I think you can put the time when it happened and then you have a camera. So, thanks for bringing us to our attention. It's good that you found out the cameras aren't working, because that was the reason why we haven't been installed. We want some potential person grabbing a kid and having us free access to them instead of the bathroom. So, thanks for checking on that first.
I think it warrants a much larger discussion, I'm sure at some point down the range, about just the external security measures for Jesse Mays itself, which would include better surveillance, because it is definitely lacking.
Councilman, you have a follow-up?
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Piven. I had a couple follow-up questions. One, do you have any leads on who this could be?
Unfortunately, no, nothing was reported as far as, no witnesses to anybody coming and going in odd times or, acting suspiciously around the restrooms. We did circulate the photos to, local school resource officers and local code enforcement, from Hillsborough that has a handle on much larger widespread graffiti problem within the city, to see if they recognize anything left behind as far as monikers or insignia that might be identifiable via SRO just experience or code enforcement experience. And those were kind of dead ends for us. So at this point, we don't have any investigative leads as to who was responsible.
Okay, thank you. And then just my other follow-up question, is there any consideration to putting in hand dryers, like Dyson hand dryers, to alleviate, one added layer of paper towels? I know there'll still be toilet paper, of course, but.
So it's my understanding that Public Works has removed the paper towel dispensers in there. To what the alternative that they're gonna use in the meantime, I don't know what that is, but I'm sure Dustin can probably address that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Dustin is making hand gestures. Just kidding. So anything else? Sorry, Dustin. So I was gonna say, and maybe this, I don't know if this is public works or public safety. I guess the one question I have is, do we need to put something in the budget for a camera, or is that more Dustin's question?
He's raising his hand, so I'll let
Okay.
Dustin answer.
I'll let him.
Yeah.
I can answer in the next.
That's fine. And then the other question is this something where we should, and I'm just asking, is this something where we should consider shutting it down until we have a solution, or are you comfortable reopening and just, I don't know.
I think we have the ability to have some decent temporary solutions.
Okay,
I don't think
That's
we
fine.
have anything to, like a long-term solution, in
Okay.
pocket yet, but I think we have I think we have the ability to sensibly reopen them,
okay,
in the meantime.
perfect. I just want to make sure. Cool. Anybody else? All right, thank you. All right, now Dustin.
Good evening, council. This is Dustin, United Public Works Director for everybody in the audience. I really don't have anything to add to my report other than a couple of things, one of them being the bathrooms and one of them being Jesse Mays itself. So with the bathrooms, they're still closed right now. There is extensive damage and multiple coats of paint. And we're gonna try a different primer tomorrow. It's also, the weather is pretty moist, so it kind of keeps it from drying a little bit better. Hopefully we can have it open this week. But also the crew is tied up with a lot of different things. I know they had over 80, shutdown notices last week for water. We have beaver dams to remove. There's a lot of things going on, and so getting to the bathrooms has been kind of whenever we have time for it. And also we have the leaf pickup program still going on as well. So we're getting to it as we can get to it. As far as security, yes, we have a camera that works really good during the summer, but once we have the shade and the winter weather, it kind of goes in and out and it's not very reliable. But that was kind of one of those temporary solutions that we could get in place until we get a permanent solution. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about with security. That I know there is a security grant through, I believe it's the Oregon Emergency Management, that there is a grant application due mid-January. And the big focus of what I was gonna do is more security at the pump station 1 and the reservoir 1, but you can have multiple sites in this particular grant. And I was thinking that this could be one of those facilities that we can upgrade as part of that. But I think the other issue is making sure we have the right bids and everything and the quotes, and trying to align security citywide. Because right now we have multiple vendors in different locations, and so trying to consolidate that is one of my big approaches that I was trying to do for this budget cycle. But I think with this incident, we're gonna try to speed it up a little bit. And so it's a pretty hefty grant if we get awarded it, and so hopefully that's something that we can get. But it's not just cameras, but it would be, locks and everything on top of that. As far as this facility itself, you can see the wonderful stains that we have on the ceiling and on the wall. We had one official quote come in now, and it looks like the roof is, this is another thing that I had scheduled for this budget cycle to look in for next budget cycle is to replace the roof. And with the recent weather that we've been having, and of course coming this week, it's kind of pushing this up a little bit forward. But the quote that I got is nearing $30,000 to replace the roof at this point. That's just the first estimate that I got. So we'll kind of see how those go, and if there's any other, and that's not even including removing any of the plywood or anything. That's just strictly new shingles, and it doesn't take into account replacing the inside, clean the walls and stuff like that. So that's something that we'll hopefully get some more quotes this week, and we'll have a better idea of what we're to expect for replacing the roof here at Jesse Mays. And that, I don't have anything else unless you have questions for me.
Council?
Back to the bathrooms. There's some, we are also partnered up with Washington County. They have some friendly employees. So I maybe talk to Nick about that. They have those temporary things we can set up. So maybe that's something that we could use in the meantime.
That was one of the options that we have, is to put up a temporary trail cam. And I don't know if it's up right now. I have to double check it. But that was one of the options that we have. And we were discussing opening maybe one side of the bathroom, at least during the winter when the traffic is a lot less. And also adjusting the times. The locks on those automatic locks on those doors are not exactly user friendly. And so trying to get those locks scheduled for the winter and the season changes, we can do it. It's just it's kind of time sensitive more than anything.
So anything else?
Councilor Reddy. Here, I just want to say thank you to you and the crew. Those bathroom pictures are pretty awful to look at, and I can't imagine they're very fun to clean on top of the weather you guys are out in, so just a thank you for this hard time that is happening right now.
Well, thank you.
All right, well, I'll just give a shout out on Gordon because I think this might be, well, I shouldn't say this out loud, but I may have just jinxed this. So far, every time I've gone through, there's no flooding. Now, I assume this weekend it'll be under 3 feet of water, but that'll probably be the rest of the city too, so. But no, I was actually surprised. I went through there coming home the other day and I assumed it would be flooded and it's not, so that means whatever you're doing is working, so thank you. And I think that's it. Unless, yeah, that's it. And, Bill, are you prepared to cover Roan or do you wanna? Is there anything you need to cover for that? I don't think so. Okay, we can move on to the next, define, which is you too. Oh, did I skip? Oh, Brian. Oh, okay.
He's not on.
I didn't think so. There wasn't, I looked through, I didn't see anything that we needed to address on it.
No,
Okay.
he sent me an email saying he's picking up his daughter.
Yeah,
But
unless somebody else wanted something.
someone wasn't muted on the,
Yeah, that's fine. I just didn't want to skip someone.
It's fine. Thank you, council. I could have just said this while I was looking at that. Hopefully you've had time to review, the finance staff report. I don't have a ton to add or flesh out. I guess what I would just say is, the work to correct some really weird accounting software, personnel, fund by fund, department by department misattribution worked well. I mean, we reviewed it, we figured it would, but it did, and so things look about the way they should. So that's very good news.
Bill, just to clarify, you're speaking of the 2020 audit, is that what you're referring to? Or something else?
No, sorry.
That chart, sorry, yes, sorry, I was on the wrong page.
Yeah, it's Springbrook or accounting software.
Thanks,
It was misattributing
Oh,
personnel expense to different, different operating funds and departments, or I don't know why. But we went through and basically just reprogrammed it, respecified it, and then corrected everything for the fiscal year so far. So all the different expenses by department and fund should look about the way they should actually. It was kind of weird. Last month, the report showed different departments and funds having really weird under and overspending on personnel, and that was why. It's not that we were overspending or underspending, it's just the accounting of it, the posting of the numbers wasn't happening the way it should have been. So that's all fixed. And beyond that, I would say nothing else to add, really. Yeah, unless you have any questions, thank you.
I'm trying to find the numbers, I lost it. However, their gas tax is about 25% under expectations. I don't have the exact numbers here, I'll let them put it in numbers, but roughly it's about 25% under. It's been that way for a little while too, hasn't it? Should we reassess how much we're taking from that?
Council Page, not quite yet. We did have some construction and closure at one of the gas stations of one of their islands. And that was just a temporary shut off of revenue or sizable for that gas station. Sizable reduction in revenue for a few months, but it's back to where it should be.
We've had that, when I first became on city council, I kind of pushed this through. It's been there for like, what, 6 years now, 5 years? How long have we had this?
It's been, 4-ish, I would say. The gas tax was passed in November 2021, as I recall.
Okay,
And then we floated the bond in 2022.
all right.
So it's been 4 years, but depending on you're looking when the tax was passed versus when we bonded it. So.
Okay, so are we still doing fairly well on meeting our loans on that?
Yeah, oh yeah, no, we're fine. There hasn't been any,
I'm gonna try to see, is it time to revisit that 3 cents, 5? And put it out there to the vote? But if we're doing fine, then we're doing fine.
we're doing fine. What I would say is that, is a reevaluation would be in order more if you all wanted to consider doing more transportation projects in the future with a bond that pledges fuel tax revenue.
Right.
So we're about done with the bond that we took out in 2022. And so, the next step would be, do you all want to do more?
And that'd be for like infilling the city with more sidewalks, so.
Yeah, the transportation bond fund, that's the full faith and credit obligation bond that we took out, and it's really meant to to pay for all the infrastructure improvements that we can't pay for with system development charges. So the sidewalks that have been lacking in the older part of town, or all the different things that we are just kind of were under installed or need to be replaced. Yep.
Gee, thanks.
Anybody else? Okay, so I just wanted to call out, so you put in the, FY 22 audit progress and 23 readiness, so we are scheduled to meet in January to map out the availability. To complete, and then 23 should go quickly, and then we'll start 24. Correct?
Yeah, yes, that's correct, Mayor. Yeah, we've been working with both, Marina and Umpqua Valley Financial on, basically, yes, we're gonna have a meeting and schedule out when they can, the final financial statements. We still had some revisions and journal entries. The very last one I actually committed today for them, after some final, changes. Then they are going to finalize the financial reports, and then we will have a meeting with Umpqua Valley Financial in January to schedule out their completion of FY 22, the audit itself, Marina's completion of FY 23 financial statements, and then the submittal to that to Umpqua Valley Financial to finish the FY 23 audit itself. And then the same thing for FY 24.
Perfect. All right, I think that is it for staff reports. Thank you to staff. Moving on to resolutions, so long time. 23-24, reappointing Commissioner Miller to Planning Commission for a term through December 31st, 2029. So, as he is not here, we will not call him forward. Anybody have any questions? He was the only applicant, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. I watched the playback.
It's my understanding that he filled in for somebody, as.
He was appointed, correct?
He's appointed, but he filled in for somebody that left early.
Yeah, he did not fill a full term. He was filling it a vacant, and
Well, I always feel that your first term is kind of a learning curve, and wanted you to get afterwards. Cool.
Councilor Reddy, do you have a comment?
Counselor Redding here. So my understanding is someone did apply that didn't meet requirements at.
I'm sorry.
time.
Oh.
that was like 3 weeks ago. I've had a lot of applications come through for various things. Yes, there was a person that applied that lived outside the city limits. But your requirements, if you're an outside resident, you have to own property or a business in town, and that person did not meet those qualifications.
And we also had those two positions are not open right now.
Correct, that is correct.
So I guess my question to council is, we wanted to come forward with all applications plus the recommendation. So is.
All
this-
qualified applications, yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, is the clarification there.
Yeah, because Lori generally doesn't present applications unless they're qualified to the board or to the commission, and then the commission reviews them and then they bring them to us.
Okay.
Councilor Reddy, or Councilor Hagan, and state your name.
Mandy Hagedorn or Counselor Hagedorn. Would there be value amending the resolution to, it is simply put in qualified applicant?
Okay.
I think
That met the criteria of since there are positions, just for clarity of the objective of the position that we were filling. Would there be value adding that the position was a in-town resident and he met the qualifications?
I don't think we need one like that. So, go ahead.
I would like to, state my support of only bringing qualified applications for us to consider. I don't think we need to spend our time debating somebody that's not qualified for a appropriate position.
Mandy Hagedorn, Counselor Hagedorn here. I'm not debating the qualifications, the resolution language says, whereas Kai Miller was the only person that applied for the position. Counselor Redding brought up a good point because there was another person that applied and was not qualified due to out of town, non-resident status. Would there be value amending the language to add the still clear, clarity to that nuance?
Somebody makes a motion, we can move forward, or we
I
can,
move to amend the resolution to insert the keyword qualified applicant.
Councilor Hagedorn, like to amend 23-24 to add qualified applicant, do I have a second?
I'll second qualified applicant.
Okay, Councilor Page seconds, all in favor of, so we're, just to be clear, we are moving to amend and approve Commissioner Miller, correct? Your understanding, Councilor Hagedorn?
With the understanding of the amendment, yes.
Okay, so
Maybe separate.
all, no, it would be together because it's, we're just amending the resolution. So, all those in favor of approving amendment 23-24 with the amendment that we change it to qualified applicant instead of applicant for Commissioner Miller, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have, it. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, moving on, amendment 23-25, reappointing Jackie Hunt to the Economic Development Commission. And since you're here, would you mind come forward, please? So councilors can ask you any questions. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
The microphone works. You know how it works.
So, before we get started, I was at Economic Development when, she was interviewed. And so I just, if you could, in just the most briefest, fashion, you just give us a quick rundown of kind of your background and why you would like to be back on Economic Development. 'Cause I think it was helpful to me personally. I think it would help council.
The briefest background.
I was trying to be nice and say, I'm trying to, you know,
I'll maybe make, share some things related to my interest in economic development. So I am a clinical pharmacist by training, put my way through school by running my first small business at the age of 12, strawberry field owner. Did start that program at Providence, which still runs. And so at that time patented software and started a business inside of Providence that we spun out. I left Providence to do a fellowship in healthcare improvement. And in that time, was able to take classes at Harvard Business School and really changed my perspective from healthcare to health. And jumping forward a number of years, had the opportunity to have an executive position at Central City Concern, where we focus not just on healthcare for the homeless, but how you bring housing and employment to people to help them, move from a place of very dark times to resiliency and health. And so have really shifted my career to stay focused on how you build healthy individuals and increasingly how we develop healthy communities. So, spent time with my son on a small business, supporting local farmers called French Porch Farmers, spending time with my daughter now, thinking about how do we develop a volunteer matching service. So thinking about ways, spoke about agri-hoods, thinking about ways to increase belonging and resiliency in communities. And that's very much connected to the economic vitality of a community.
so the reason I asked you to do that, I think, in my opinion, for what it's worth, I think a large part of good economic development is a healthy, vibrant community. So that's why I want everybody to kind of hear that, so you understand where she's coming from. Also, you were the only candidate for this position, but I also still want to highlight, people that bring things to the table that we may not have necessarily, or we might want more of. So, with that, any questions for the candidate?
I move to approve resolution 23-25, appointing Jacqueline Hunt to the Economic Development Committee.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilor Page, seconded by Councilor Hagedorn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay, and now, Bill, resolution 2326, and hopefully everybody's read this and has an understanding, but I'll let Bill speak on this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. So resolution 2326. North Plains, for a number of months has really kind of not had a designated person to do assistant city manager type of things. We did have that in me, when Andy was here, and then when Andy Barner was city manager, and then when Rob Drake was interim city manager. It wasn't anything city council created a job description for at the time. It was just me with, Andy delegating various things to me and then me carrying that on with Rob as interim. But since taking the position of city manager, and kind of working through with a bunch of new city council members and all of that, we really haven't had kind of somebody officially being that, person who kind of takes on different aspects of support on administrative things. And so before you is resolution 2326. And what that would basically do is create a new job description, a director of library and administrative services. That would basically be a promotion for Robin Doty, who is a promotion into more responsibility. Slightly different job description. And same pay scale, it's a director level position, as I was as finance director assisting previous city managers with assistant related duties. And Robin, since 2019, has basically been doing all of this very successfully for the library department itself, following all the same rules, statutes, procedures for the library alone. And she's more than ready and able to take on the additional responsibilities of providing support on that. And as the staff report gets into, she has that capacity now because of the fact that over the past year, council has added both a library supervisor position and has added the job description librarian 2. And with the hiring of one and the promotion of another at the library, those two, between the two of them, have taken on some of those things that Robin did by herself as director. So it's created capacity for her to take on some expansion of responsibility in a citywide manner. So it's basically a new job description and kind of makes official some delegation to her to do things that she's capable of doing. And it just kind of lets us move forward and do more is the bottom line. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Councilors, please state your name and your question.
Councilor Pippen, I don't necessarily have a question, but I did want to bubble back up, how long-term I would love for the city to have some sort of career progression in writing, that opens up the position to anyone to apply, just so that it's a fair and equitable process. I am in full support, and have no doubt that Robin is capable, but similar to when we created a position for the assistant planner, I just want to make sure we're giving the opportunity for everyone to apply, all qualified candidates, and it could absolutely be an internal candidate that is the most qualified, but I would love as a city to have a process to make it fair and equitable.
Sure. Thank you. Anybody else? Councilor, that's okay.
I would like to second what Councilor Pippen has just said. We had a job opening for assistant planner that came up, and I was kind of surprised that it wasn't posted and we had an internal candidate in line for it, which is great. I do like that we have a path here for people to get more bandwidth and progression. I'm all for that. However, being that this is a public job, I would like to see it opened up and posted for a period of time. Now, I have no doubt that Rob is a very qualified candidate, and you have been under siege, in my opinion, since you came here, and you need to back up. So it's needed, and I agree with that. Just the process of how you're doing it. I think that being that this is a public job, we should really open it up.
Okay, any other questions or yes, Councilor?
Counselor Rennie. I kind of made little statements to read here. And I want to be clear that I deeply value our library director and understand the city manager's goal of lightening his workload by better utilizing strong internal talents. My concern is not about the individual, but about structure. I want to pause on this job description because it appears to delegate several core city manager responsibilities, including human resources administration, risk management, intergovernmental relations, budget coordination, council agenda support, and department head supervision into a new position. In a council manager form of government, those functions are typically centralized under the city manager to preserve clear accountability to council. When those duties are distributed, especially permanently, it raises governance and oversight concerns for me. Before adopting this position, I believe council needs clarity on which responsibilities are being formally reassigned from the city manager, how this change would affect the city manager's performance evaluation going forward, and how accountability to council will be maintained. This feels like a significant organizational change that warrants fuller discussion rather than approval. I'm also concerned that creating such a highly specialized and hybrid position could pigeonhole the city. If this position becomes vacant unexpectedly, would we realistically be able to recruit for it, or would we be forced to redesign it under pressure? How does the city plan to manage continuity and recruitment risk if this highly specialized position becomes vacant? And then, should we budget for an official assistant city manager position that would be more readily fillable if a vacancy occurred?
Okay, so let me address some of that. So number one, getting to the questions about publicly posting the job. So the assistant planner position, I was not the city manager at the time when that hire was made. It was the wholesale creation of an entirely new position with entirely new expense for personnel and benefits expense. So it was the city taking on a completely new expense with a new person. And how that position was hired for, we've heard how some feel about that, and thank you for expressing that tonight. This position is simply a delegation of some duties to an existing employee without the substantial cost of hiring, of going out and finding and recruiting, hiring, onboarding, in addition to the library director we already have. This is simply a delegation of duties and as a new job description. There is no assistant city manager in the budget. This is simply a working within the budget, some delegation of some specific duties. The staff report outlines those specific duties that I would be delegating to Robin for some assistance and oversight, and it's limited. Human resources, risk management, technology procedures, oversight and support, and some intergovernmental relations. Primarily starting with, but also moving into some other things with me, the Washington County Cooperative Library Services Agency. So it's a finite number of services or that Robin wouldn't be making hiring or firing decisions of other directors. It would be more making sure our benefits package is complete, exploring options, making sure renewal every year with CIS, comported with the personnel handbook updates, the administrative human resources things, not the personnel decisions per se. So it's simply a delegation under my powers as the city manager, but my hope was that this city council would okay an official job description for Robin just to take on those limited additional duties so that things can just work better as the bottom line.
Councilor Ingram, do you have a comment? Okay, so I'll speak real quick. So I actually support this because this is a pretty standard practice. All we're doing is changing the job description. I do this in my day job all the time. I think it makes a lot of sense to have somebody, to add the additional duties so that she is clear, so she can be evaluated correctly. Bill is still on the hook for, still gets reviewed for all these things. Bill is still ultimately responsible as the city manager to the council. Normally when I do this, I don't have to go to the city council, which is great, but my boss and I just work out what they want, HR approves it, and then we give somebody a slightly different title. So I'm speaking in support of it. I think it makes a ton of sense. I understand the desire to publish job descriptions publicly, but in this case, we don't have budget for an assistant city manager, and this is the best way to make use of some capacity that Robin has because she's been developed as a leader within our organization. So that's my 2 cents. Councilor Page?
Yeah, thank you for, giving that explanation, Bill. So this is not a creating of a new service, it's just codifying the actual delegation powers. And I think that's a great thing we're doing for development and giving somebody extra recognition for the job they're doing. So thanks for that, for that, thanks.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, is there any?
I move to adopt resolution 2326 to create a new director of library and administrative services position.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Councilor Page to approve resolution 2326, seconded by Councilor Payton. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving resolution 2326, creating a director of library and administrative services position, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Can we have a roll call vote?
Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote. So Councilor Hagedorn,
Yay.
Councilor Payton,
Yay.
Councilor Page,
Yay.
Councilor Reagan,
Nay.
and Mayor votes aye.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries. We congratulate now, or do we get cake later? It'll be a small cake. We have no budget. All right, moving on. So unfinished business. So I will go through the process and we don't have everything to do it. I don't think we need her. Bill? No, Emily?
Yes.
Oh,
She
yeah.
joined. She might come up with me soon.
Okay. Emily, do you want to cover, or do you want me to, I can cover if you need, or you're the expert, so.
I would love it if you covered, Mayor.
Okay, cool. So I think you all know the process. I believe you're all going to interview each of the 6 candidates. Did we, I believe you decided on using the questions from the mayors, or did we decide on something else?
Or included in
The 4 questions included in the applications. Thank you for correcting that. And we'll limit it to 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, you'll get the hook. So we'll just go down in order. If that is amenable to everybody, I just want to remind everyone, each counselor, gets either a nomination or a second. Every candidate must, in order to get voted on, every candidate must get nominated and seconded. So there can only be 2 candidates or less out of the 6. And the mayor does not vote except in case of a tie. Are there any questions from council? Everybody understand these things I've explained?
Are we limited to just these 4 questions, or can we follow up?
I mean, that's up to you. You are the ones that are voting, not me. So you tell me. Would you prefer, do you want to limit yourselves, or do you want different questions?
I think we should stick to the scripts because everybody's prepared for that. However, there may be some follow-up questions that we may need to ask due to their answers.
Any objections?
Counselor Hagedorn here. I want to be cognizant of time. If we're sticking to a time fence, I want to make sure that we're recording 10 minutes and we have a mechanism in place to flag intermission when we're close to time and overtime.
Yes, we have a time. Okay, so with that, let's move on to new business. So we will go ahead and call up the candidates in order. I think they're all in order. Yeah, they're all in order. So Mr. Blancas, and again, if I didn't mispronounce your name yet, just wait because I will. If you can come up, I think it's.
We have to start over here.
Can we fix this one?
with, that one should be charged.
so.
Yeah. Is it, did you turn it on, chief? Okay.
Okay, so, you want to just cover council writing and work your way down?
I want question number 4.
Okay. Billy?
Counselor Redding here. Mr. Blancas, why would you like to serve on the city council?
Well, definitely. Well, I want to thank all of you, counselors, as well as you, Mayor, for having me here in this process. I really appreciate it. Again, my name is Matt Blancas. I've been a resident of the state of Oregon for almost 10 years now, here in North Plains for going on 2 years now. And I think for me, you know, I've been in public service for 20+ years, worked at various levels of government, so federal, state, and local. More recently in higher ed, and here in the state of Oregon, I've worked with Portland State University, the city of Hillsborough, city of Portland, and most recently Portland Community College. My background is in human resources, public administration, what is probably formerly known, but still very much supported, at least in my world, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so for me, I think it's very important to show up. I'm a veteran myself. I've served a little over 10 years in the Army. And I think one of the things that I learned in that time is that in order to really do the work, you have to show up, put your face in front of people and see how you can support others. And so I think for me, that has been my lifelong journey, is to, one, be a lifelong learner, but also to support the community as well as my fellow citizen. And so every day I try to find a way to do that. And so I've volunteered for a number of organizations, nonprofit, HOA. I'm even on a state licensure board currently. And I've gone through several levels of education. So I have a bachelor's of business administration from the University of Montana. I have an executive master of public administration from Portland State University, and I'm currently working on my PhD in education and leadership. So I think between my experience here in the state, as well as my education, I think that I would be a candidate to serve in this position.
All right, Councilor Hagedorn, you want to take question two since Councilor Page wants four?
Well, you kind of already answered all the questions on the page, sir. Can you echo or reiterate what you think the most important issues North Plains is facing and how you're uniquely positioned to support us addressing them?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, much of what is going on currently nationally and statewide, affordability, access to resources. We live in a food desert. You have to leave the city in order to access the basic needs. And I think that is something that, as a city council, as an institution, that we should be looking forward to helping, relieve in terms of what our citizens need. I grew up, in poverty myself, so I know what it's like to not be able to have what you need. And so I think it's important to look at the population that is most vulnerable. And so for me, I think it's always lifting those folks up whenever possible. Having said that, though, I think that includes, right, what does the budget look like? What does it look like to expand as a city, and how do we do it safely? How do we focus on the core and what those resources look like as we plan for the future of the city? Having said that, we don't want to put the cart before the horse. So it's doing it in a way that's mindful, intentional, and thoughtful towards what the community wants and needs. So, it is a balancing act. And I think with every local institution that I've worked with so far here in the metro, that is the going challenge of every community, is how do we best serve those most vulnerable while also, being accountable to the taxpayer and such. So, yeah.
Councilor Page, question three.
Hi, Matthew.
Hi.
Do you have any special interests or qualifications that you would bring to city council?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have a very strong background in human resource and public admin. So for me, it's very much, I've been a part of strategic planning, policy development, rulemaking, procedural sets, so on and so forth, so standard operating procedures. I am very much about the book when it comes to making sure that, we create administrative processes that are defensible by law. I think it's important that this institution never put itself at risk in any way whatsoever. And so I think that's something that I bring to the table. Having said that, there's also this other part, right, where it's, you always have to consider diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so in doing that, there has to be flexibility in some areas and an understanding that not everything fits in a cookie cutter kind of shape. And so just thinking about that as well. So kind of to what you were speaking about specifically when it comes to opening up positions so that, folks can be a part of the process, that's very important because it does establish a standard for equity to exist when we're hiring for folks.
Perfect. Councilor Page, yours.
Have you previously served on a board or committee for any city or organization?
Yeah, definitely. So I am currently on the Oregon State Landscape Architecture Board, so it's a licensure board for the state of Oregon. I was appointed by Kate Brown. I currently serve under Tina Kotek. And then, of course, I've been on a number of community boards, everything from LGBTQ to housing, so, or participated in some way to support them administratively. So yeah, definitely have lots of experience there. Let's see. Trying to think if there's any others that I can name off the top of them. I'm sure there's some others, but
You said you worked for the city of Hillsborough's
Mhm.
city manager's office.
Mhm.
Doing what?
yeah, so I was the public management fellow, so I was one of 5 nominated to the position, so I had an opportunity to work under the basically the human resources as well as the project management team that resides within the city manager's office. So I had an opportunity to basically observe how the city functions, both at the city council as well as, you know, just how the city operates internally. So it's just a really cool opportunity. Which it sounds like y'all might need an HR manager at some point, so. Between your library director and your city manager, so that'd be a good placeholder.
All right, any other questions? Okay, thank you, we'll,
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
appreciate your time. Okay, you'll bring Parsons. Is not.
Yeah, right.
Not,
All right,
not obvious.
okay, Pauline Rosado, if you want to come up. All right, Councilor Page, it's two once time.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Hi, Pauline. Hi. First, I want to say thank you for considering me to be on the council. I appreciate it very much. And I will accept any of your questions.
Well, I'm gonna lead off with number 1. Why would you like to serve on city council?
Well, I see a lot of things that need to be done for the city. And with me being on the council, I can help bring those to life and that we can make this city a better one, not just a mediocre, but a better, way up there. And to make sure that everybody is served.
Councilor Payton.
Hi, Pauline,
Hi.
what do you think are the most important issues now facing North Plains?
What are the most important things? First of all, sustainable growth. Second, we need more sidewalks for the elderly because sometimes they like to go walking and they'll have to go in partially in the street and there's cars and everybody has to go around them and it's sort of cumbersome. We need more businesses in the city, not just restaurants and, you know, more like a pharmacy or, you know, a laundromat in case people don't have washers and dryers. They don't have to travel. If they don't have cars, they have to go out of the city to do whatever they need to and go into Hillsborough. And so if we can get businesses of that nature, so it would be easy for everybody concerned.
Okay, Councilor Ingram.
Can you tell us about your special interest or qualifications that you would bring to the table as the council?
Well, I've never served on, as a city council member, but I've been on many committees. I was, I've done PTA all my children's lives when they were growing up, so I had to run PTAs and be president and do district, PTAs where I was the district president for the county of Monterey. And so we would gather all the presidents and I was the first in line. And what we did was we helped with curriculum and make sure that the kids were getting all their needs met. And I also, when my kids grew up and they graduated from school, I decided to go back to college. Well, I went there holding 12 units and then got on the board of the Monterey, Modesto Junior College Associated Students, which is our government. And in that, we had to be placed in committees. And I was on the accreditation committee and the budget committee, holding 12 units, working at the school to help disabled students with note taking and everything like that. And also being in clubs.
Okay, Counselor Reddick.
Have you previously served on a board or committee for any city or organization?
Yes, as I said, I was on PTA's committees. I was also on the Modesto Junior College Committee and for the accreditation and budget, plus holding 12 units and working.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Scott? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up. And again, I apologize if I mispronounced your name, Joe Slavinsky. I'm just gonna say I got that one right since he's not here, he's online. Okay. Glenn Warren. Down the line.
Hi, Glenn.
Hello.
Why would you like to serve on city council?
Why would I want to be on the city council? I gotta apologize if I talk too loud. I don't have my hearing aids in. I was on the city council for 4 years before. And it, like I put on my application, it's weird. I really like the city council. It's, to a lot of people, it's boring. It's boring and stuff, but I think that the city council makes a difference. And for the residents itself that you work for, it's a pleasure, it's a duty that we should be able to do that, or try to do that.
Okay, Counselor Hagedorn.
Hello, Glenn. Can you tell us what the most important issues facing North Plains are from your perspective?
Okay, the biggest one I think is the urban growth boundary. But the city itself is financial, needs to have the balance of commercial net worth and residents. And right now, and it has been for quite a few years, it's been a bed and breakfast. No, the businesses is not payment here. And we need more businesses to balance the budget, to have more police, to have more public things that we actually do need. And that's the biggest issues that I know of. And it's a huge one, I think.
Okay, Counselor Reddick.
Do you have any special interests or qualifications that you would bring to city council?
Well, yeah, when I was on the city council before, we elected a city manager. We hired her. And we went through and hired a police chief. It was a big ordeal. Because we had a lot of people come. And another thing I was doing is when I was on council, we went through all the measures and the ordinances, took a lot of wording out of it and made it more simpler to read. And another thing with the budget, I was in part of the council, was given the budget to go through. And we actually looked at the budget and tried to make more sense of the budget. And that was an eye opener how much, where everything goes and stuff like that. So it was really interesting.
If you're no phone line, you're back to number 4.
Yes, budget is quite an eye opener. Have you previously served on a board or committee for any city or organization?
Well, I did serve on the North Plains Fire Department, District Two, and we had a little board that was overseeing how we were getting trained. And that's why we used to do house burns and stuff like that, make sure everything was safety. OSHA was in there, and that's the only board that I've been on. I'd like to get on the senior citizens there at the, I call it the Gray Hair Club, but it's the senior center. But that's all.
And city council, of course.
That's it.
Okay, any other
All right,
questions?
thank you.
I mean, I mispronounced your name, Don, but I mean, that'd be pretty bad. So Don, if you want to come up front. All right, so. Councilor Hagan, you can begin. Question?
Good evening, Mr. Weber. Can you tell us about your desire to serve on city council?
Yes, I've lived in North Plains a little over 5 years. I'm retired, which gives me lots of time to wander. My wife encourages me to get out of the house for a few hours a day, so I walk and run probably 2 hours a day. And it's given me this wonderful appreciation for North Plains. I've gone up and down every street, met hundreds of people. And I feel like we have just a wonderful city, but I also feel like we're kind of at a crossroads to redefine who we're going to be going forward. Are we going to become twice as big? Are we going to stay kind of the same? How much more housing? How much more commercial? And that topic interests me. I have some time and I have some energy for that. So I think the best way to try to be of assistance in the city is to volunteer to see if I can be on city council.
Okay. Counselor?
What do you think are the most important issues now facing North Plains?
I think, as others have said, the whole growth discussion is the key issue. I've been a part of this discussion ever since I came here. I'm a big fan of kind of the numbers of growth. So I do think us establishing our financial stability in our city is really important. But I think we've been told a lot that commercial growth especially is going to get us a lot of money. I'm not convinced that's true when I study it, read about the issues, look at other cities. So I do think we potentially need more financial growth. Perhaps that should come in the form of a levy. You know, for instance, when I talk to a lot of people, they actually love being a bedroom community, and they're not necessarily opposed to some sort of levy. So I would like more of that discussion. I would especially like to see the focus on the numbers. If we say we need more hundreds of acres of commercial growth, I want to see the numbers on a piece of paper to tell me how much each of those 10-acre buildings, like the one on West Union, how much do those give us every year? Because I know a $25 levy, which I've kind of polled my neighbors, they're willing to do, that'll give us about 500,000. Okay, how many of those giant buildings, which my neighborhood says we don't like, how many of those does it take to give us $500,000 a year? I would just like to see those kind of things talked about, because I think we've got to figure some answers to where we want to go, but I think we need more numbers.
Councilor Bain?
Do you have any special interests or qualifications that you bring to city council?
My career for a lot of years is I would attend a lot of meetings, boards, all kinds of things every week. So I'm used to working with a team of people. I also grew up in a family that was pretty politically active. So I think what I've learned is the understanding that I wouldn't come to this with a side. I would come to it with the idea of trying to find some answers in the group of the city council, try to perhaps bridge some gaps, find some middle grounds. So that is something that interests me, is to kind of build this group of people I do have a belief that in a large group, you've got different talents and skills and wisdoms and insights, and how do you bring those together in good decision making? So that is something I've been a part of. I've helped make a lot of decisions. So.
Council Bacon?
Hi, Don.
Hi.
Have you previously served on a board or committee for any city or organization?
Yes, I think the first thing I was one of the people that helped in the levy that we tried to put forward that didn't do well, but a group of us were part of that discussion. So that was my first discussion to the whole numbers thing. Since then, I've been a member of was a member of the Parks and Rec, and then I've also was a part of Relook. And then I've also been involved in different levels with the food bank.
Anybody else?
You were also in Parks and Recreation.
Pardon?
You were also in Parks and Recreation?
Yes.
Oh, you
You
did.
said that.
Anybody else? All right, thank you. You can take a seat. Okay, so before we go on, we'll move on to nominations in a moment. I just want to thank all the candidates. There's only one position, so that gives you a 1 in 6 chance. And there will be another position that is currently open for backfill my term for 3 years, and then also there'll be another election for in 26. I'm trying to get rid of anyone. I'm just pointing out that there's multiple chances. There's also a position open on Parks Board if you were interested in that. So we do appreciate the volunteers. And with that, I will open it to nominations. I'm going to ask for if somebody nominates, and then I'll look for a second. So, Council Redding?
Counselor Reddy here. I'd like to nominate Don Weber.
Okay, hold on. Hang notes. Okay, Council Redding nominates Don Weber. Do I have a second?
Counselor Hagedorn, I second.
Okay. Okay, are there any other nominations?
Council Fage, I'd like to nominate Matthew Blancas.
Okay, is there a second?
Counselor Pittman, I will second Matthew Blancas.
All right. So we have 2 nominations. So, Lori, you're good with the roll call? Oh, you want paper? Okay, so I'm not voting, so you guys figure it out. Will you?
Counselor Pittman votes for Matthew Blancas. Counselor Redding votes for Don Weber. Counselor Page votes for Matt Blancas. Counselor Hagedorn votes for Don Weber.
Do I need to write it down or?
We are gonna follow the rules, so.
Before I make a decision here, again, just want to say thank you to everyone. It's great to have so many candidates, and please show up for boards and commissions and vote for those as well.
So,
Mayor, oh,
go ahead,
Nope.
sorry.
votes for Don Weber.
Okay. Sorry, Emily, what do you have?
So the charter requires 4 votes for the person. A majority.
Majority, we only have 5 members, so majority's 3, correct? We have 2 vacancies right now.
Okay, yes, you're right. Sorry, I apologize.
Okay, so we're good. We're good. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, so again, thank you all, and there'll be another position open, and there will be the reports and commission, so please join. Okay, so let's move on. City manager reports.
Okay. Congratulations, Don. That's a big bit of news, so that's great. Okay, so just want to review the schedule moving forward, regarding, well, the rest of the process with city councilors and vacancies, just as a reminder. January 5th will be the swearing in of Dawn on the city council. And then on January 5th, that evening as well, will be the first city council meeting, presumably the one you want to do it at, to select among applicants for your former term that expires December 31st, 2028. So the swearing in of Dawn Weber and the filling of the second vacancy that we've had on January 5th. On January 20th, that will be the swearing in of whoever you pick on the 5th. And then that evening, after that swearing in, you'll have a full body of city council, and so it would be appropriate that he was council president. And then I would just get in there that you are missing a bank signer. And so that would be the first meeting where you would have a body of 7 to discuss bank signer.
Yes, I believe we agreed on that.
So that gets you procedurally, everything taken care of by end of January, as far as your city council and filling out roles. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, work sessions moving forward. We had to cancel tonight's joint work session with the planning commission because Rowan was rather ill. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of run by what the schedule can look like moving forward. Basically, we can move everything forward by one city council meeting. So January 5th, we would put zoning and general code revision need joint work session with planning commission. That would be the work session that night. That'd be the very next one. January 20th, that would be URA next steps. February 2nd, you'll have sworn in your final new member on the 20th. So February 2nd would be the first city council meeting to discuss strategic plan as a full body. And then February 17th, as early as, we would be returning to you with some recommendations regarding, in particular, code enforcement. We have that right now, technically, hypothetically, as February 17th and kind of the first available one, but there are different topics in the list. And that's far enough out where you have plenty of time to schedule that. But that's really what we're looking at the next few meetings for work sessions, unless there was something that really floated to the top that needed to move around for you all.
Anybody have any concerns on those?
Councilor Redding, I don't have any concerns other than, at the planning commission meeting, it seemed like several of them did not know about the meeting tonight. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise that it didn't happen. So I just would like to encourage, better communication going forward for collaborative work sessions.
Thank you, Councilor Redding.
Counselor Hagedorn here.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Just a request, would it be possible when we, in advance to the work session, is there a pre-read packet that we can read and come armed and dangerous and questions on?
Yes, since we're planning these out, yes.
Thanks.
Sure.
Okay, anything else
Yes. Item number 3, last meeting of the year. Congratulations, everybody, for getting through 2025 regarding meetings. The big news I will say is that there are significant changes going on at BEH, our law firm. So in the new year, Emily Matisar is going to be our regular primary city attorney moving forward. And then with the retirement of Chris Crean at the end of this year, they have the land use attorney and code enforcement attorney that we will be working with. Her name is Jody Golahan. Now, I haven't met her, and I might have been mispronouncing her last name, but she and Emily will be our primaries at BEH after January 1st.
Well, I'll just say thank you to Ashley because she spent a lot of time helping me figure this out as I was learning. So I'm very grateful, and Emily's been great to work with. So I anticipate a great working relationship. And welcome to the club of mispronouncing everyone's name, Bill.
Hopefully admit when the risk exists, and it happens. And then just the final thing is I'm going to bring to you all in January, probably the 5th, and maybe even a rebranded name for the program supervisor position. We're kind of at the threshold where we either hire someone that does communication and some element of parks programming plan launch and management with it, but certainly until that really picks up, doing a lot of day-to-day communications work for the city. If we don't hire somebody to do that and get them on board, we're looking at having communications consultants. We've been kind of lucky with Therese in that she's willing, she's able to kind of extend, but really we need to go out and get a longer term contract with a consultant, which and at a minimum a year. And so we're kind of at a point where we have to decide how we want to go with that. And day-to-day immediate need for communication work and kind of get immediate posts out, emergency posts out, information like that when it comes up. It's far easier just to have somebody in staff to be working on those things. So we'll talk about that more when the job description comes up, but that'll be in January.
Any questions? Other questions, comments? Councilor Redding?
Councilor Redding here. What about the finance position?
That we will come to you all probably January with a proposed contract with Moran and Associates just to take on those duties for a year. Because they're working with us getting caught up on things, including financial statements, but they've also been helping us with other things under their old contract, the first contract they've had. So that's how we're going to take care of that, but we'll come back to that in January as well with that.
Thank you.
Well,
Anything else? Okay, and now we move on to council reports. And I know Councilor Page has one, so do you want to start or do you want somebody else to?
I start.
Okay.
So we just had a change in mayor, and it was a pretty hairy experience as far as how's this work. So I wanted to bring it up to the council, say maybe we could change it around a little bit. Now, doing a little bit of research, Oregon City's kind of put out a recommendation that we do it the way we did. That's probably why we do it the way we do. Because it's recommended by the League of Oregon Cities as being a standard way of doing things. However, I like to explore the process of having probably the city council president stepping in case the mayor cannot fulfill, or they may hunt for city councilors like we just did, which is an easier process. So I wanted to kind of get the pulse of how the city council feels about that, whether we should explore that. I understand we explore it, we need to hire the law firm to do extensive research on that, but I think it's a cleaner way of doing it than what we did. It seems kind of sloppy and kind of, even though we're following all the rules that are out there, it kind of makes it look like we don't know what we're doing. And I think that the city, I don't know, maybe the city council president should just kind of step in. Kind of like we have for the executive process, even though we are a legislative one. So
I'm gonna add, before I turn it over for comments, there's a reason I kind of set you up for that, sorry. I think we should look into this, yes, and Bill and I had a conversation about this, and his thought was, and I tend to agree with this, is we should probably look at the entire charter. There's not a lot, I think, that needs changing, but there are a couple things that we would potentially want to look at, so it might be wise to, if we're gonna take a look at it, to maybe have an ad hoc committee or something to kind of determine, if we're gonna go do this, do we want to, are there other changes? Because that way we're making a change once, because we have to go to the voters for this. There's some interesting things that Councilor Hagedorn brought to my attention in Sherwood around land use laws. I spoke with Mayor of Sherwood to get more information. I can share that during my report. And then I had one other that I wanted to mention. Oh, sorry, that was the only one for that. So I think my opinion, for just for what it's worth, is yes, I think we should explore this, but I think there might be other things that we want to explore. So how we go about that is up to the council, but I just think that it's worth the exploration. So any comments, questions, thoughts? Councilor Hagedorn, you got look like you have something to say.
Councilor Hagedorn here for our Friends Managing AI. I do support this request and a broader ones looking at the charter. And I would like to request not only if we do an ad hoc committee that we include people from council and maybe even some residents.
Councilor Payton, any thoughts? Councilor Payton?
Councilor Bieber, I'm in alignment. I think, I love the included, section in our packet with kind of the long range planning of the council. And I would say, we have a lot on our plates. And so I would love to, try to put this on a specific month. If there's a month that you could prioritize this, just so that we can really pinpoint it, because I think we all have such great ideas that we bring forward. But then trying to put it in actual time is always the tricky part. So I guess my question would be, long range planning, what month do we want to try to visit this?
Are you thinking of work sessions? Sorry, I just want to clarify. This is Mayor Limbrell. I'm just clarifying.
I'm open.
Okay.
I think, again, we have a lot of work sessions as well. So this might be an agenda item. Again, this is a fluid topic, but I think just an actionable time frame is what I'm looking for.
Bill, is this, I know we talked potentially about an offsite in this or in the next few months. Is this something we think we could shove in there, or is that gonna add too much? What's your thoughts?
Mayor, my recommendation would be that you all schedule, kind of get a sense of how soon you want to really dig into this. And then I would strongly recommend you start with a work session with the city attorney. And then you go over, a bit about the charter, why it is the way it is. Where some key areas are that charters have been updated. And why in other places most recently, and then what does a process look like that kind of sets the community up for a successful process? And then based on that, then kind of more formally kind of move forward with something. That just to start off with the attorney in a work session, that would be my recommendation.
Sounds pretty good, like you had it.
So this has to be voted on, so. It has to be voted on, I think we have a date that we need to work towards. May is the next election, when we need to have things in the books for that figured out. You can do that one as a checkpoint, try to build around the points you want to address it. If you want to address it sooner, I specifically just wanted to worry about the succession plan, which would be much faster. I think everybody's behind it. If we redo the whole system, it's gonna be a whole lot of work, a whole lot of billable hours. And we get a chance to put pork in the system that people don't really want to have. So I'm kind of more for a laser focused, we want to get it done for this. You want to do a whole holistic one. That's gonna take longer and who knows? The ballot for 2027, 2027, 18, who knows? Who knows what it's gonna be. But if we truck it down to do this one, we'll have the wherewithal of how to change the charter. I'm very confident that there is a will to get this done. We were really sloppy, and if we do a wholesale, we're gonna have pork, we're gonna have a bunch of crap in it that people may not even want. So I'm more for a faster targeted approach.
Just a quick point of consideration, this effort will cost money, right? And so we don't do it every day. So I think that if we do put forth the effort, we should do it well and be thorough and thoughtful with the resources we spend on this. I do like one word that I heard from Councilor Page is checkpoint. I do think that this effort would need to have a very thoughtful timeline because of the obvious going to the voters. And so if we do put an effort on this and want to be serious about it, I think this is something that would need to have some programmatic rigor. And dare I say, working with the endpoint and then working backwards in the schedule to kind of gauge our efforts. And that might also do a reasonableness test. Councilor Papen highlighted we have a long to-do list. And we can maybe do a feasibility test if we have enough time to address this.
Thank you both. So, the deadline to get final Secretary of State approved language to the county to put on the ballot is mid-January, which means we would have to submit something to the Secretary of State for review in about a week and a half.
That is that.
Unfortunately, however, the August deadline for the deadline for the November 26th election is in August of 26. And so really, this is part of why I recommend kicking off with a work session on however big or small you wanna take a kind of a work path towards change or changes.
If I could propose, what I would say is perhaps if we do the work session in, we're up to February now, March.
Mayor, so on February 17th, I had that tentative code enforcement work session. That one could be bumped to March, and I wanted to get this in late February, the second meeting in February.
We could do that.
I think we need to put a freshman and take March with
Okay.
this.
Yeah, so if council look at it, I think that would be good, and I think Councilor Page's point. At that point, we just need to make a go, no go decision. Do we need to change this one thing and put the others later, or are there other things we want to add? And I think in the work session, we can hash that out, and I would ask council if this is the direction that we go to come out of that work session ready to vote on what direction we're gonna go. Whatever that direction is, let's just make a decision and go on that council meeting following the work session. So does that work for everybody? We do the first council meeting in March. Is everybody okay with that? A work session with the attorney? Councilor Hagedorn, that's probably good with this. That's right, Hagedorn. Okay, Bill, can we make that happen?
March 2nd.
Thank you so much. Okay, perfect. I think that meets everybody's criteria, and that way we get some time with the city attorney just to make sure. And everybody can kind of talk about the things they want to talk about, and then we'll just make a decision and move forward. And if we need to have this come back later for other stuff, but at least we'll make a decision on one way or the other. Anything else, Councilor Page?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, Councilor Reddy?
I was ex officio for planning commission. And I'm sad that they're not here tonight. But things to report back was Chair King was renominated and approved for chair for 2026. And Vice Chair Labonte was renominated and approved for vice chair for 2026. That's pretty much the report. I could label off their subcommittees findings, but I think I'll save that for our work session. And then under reports, is this one I should bring that up? The audio visual.
Oh, yes, sorry, sorry.
So I know we keep running into issues with the microphones and AI confusing a couple of us counselors. And I kind of went back into my notes, and I believe we asked for bids in February. And I think in March, Bill said he'd gotten a pretty high-end bid, came back. But I'm really concerned over this setup and how hard it is and how it's not working, and it's not working for the public. It's not encouraging civic engagement. It's not giving people access to our meetings, and those were pretty big priorities in our principles. Just wondering if council wants to make this more urgent, bring this forward.
Yes.
I'm hearing a lot of yeses, Councilor Ingram. Okay, because we're going into the holidays, obviously nothing's gonna get done in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I think the request of staff is, can we look into this and can you let us know if we need to free up some budget? I think we had some money set aside and we had talked about a MAC grant. So if I need to go hit up the MAC board again, let me know. I'll do my best. But yeah, let's see if we can come up with something. I'm trying, but yes, we do need to get this resolved. Fun, not fun. Okay. Anything else?
That's it, thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Hagedorn.
The last 2 weeks I've been in a NyQuil coma, so I had a whole pass on, Parks and Rec. However, I'm looking forward to attending WACA on the 18th. Thank you.
All right, Councilor Baker.
Well, I also got a hall pass because the library board canceled their December meeting. But I would just share, in partnership with Mayor Dunbrow, attended the North Plains Jingle Parade a couple weeks ago. That is hands down one of my favorite events, and I think that just really highlights the community aspect. And it's just so heartwarming to see residents lined up along the street and in their living room windows waving. And that is one of the signature events I think about when I think about North Plains, and that I hope that tradition never dies. But I would say it was a pretty rainy day, but everyone was in great spirits. And with that, I will pass it over to Mayor Dunbrow.
Thank you. Yes, so I did get to attend the North Plains Jingle, and my highlight was I got a picture with Santa, and I'm 99% certain he looks an awful lot like a former mayor, but I'm not gonna say for sure. But that was a lot of fun. It's always fun when you can ham it up with people in town, and it was honestly really moving driving by the senior center, getting to wave at some of the people that weren't able to come out. That was that meant a lot to me because hopefully it put a smile on their face. I know it put a smile on my face. I also got to attend the Pete Chiropractic Christmas party. I'm trying to make the events as often as I can, and I met some super nice people and spent a lot of time talking to the owners and just to random people that just wanted to ask me questions that I did not have answers to. But I did my best to tell them to show up at the city council because we try to do our best to answer their questions. Okay, 2 other things. I did attend the EDC and there was a lot of good discussion. You should definitely watch the video. It's too long to tell here, but there is one thing that I would like to ask for consensus from council on. I would love to send the EDC a request to help create the programs we would like for the URA so that we can focus on other stuff, and that gives them a meaningful thing to contribute. Basically, we want them to kind of give us some ideas on, hey, we should fund these types of businesses so we kind of have more programs to fund and we can spend less time debating stuff at URA boards and more time celebrating, seeing more businesses. I don't know, what is the council's thoughts?
I do agree that our commissions need the direction. They're starting point actually. So, yes.
That's right. That's good. It says yes. Take it on. Good. All right. I'm gonna go with yes on this. So Bill, can we give Eric and the team that guidance?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that, and I'm trying to meet with all the heads as I can and just try to mostly ask them what they think the direction should be and kind of give them some guidance as best I can from what I hear from council, and then go back to council and ask questions. Because we are trying to give as much guidance as we can without getting in the way. The other thing, Councilor Hagedorn brought to my attention, and I thought this was interesting, so I did use this as an opportunity to speak with Mayor Rosner in Sherwood, and they're passing they're putting on the ballot, I'm sorry, they changed to their charter, which was interesting, that reserves the land use and housing needs to the city, which from their term is a part of home rule. So it is something that I think all the councilors should go out to the Sherwood website and take a look at. It's something that I think that we need to understand. I'm not suggesting we do that or not do that. I'm saying it's something that we should at least look at and understand as we're going through our expansion. And it's a conversation that I think, you know, we need to have. We should not be taking options off the table as long as they're within the laws. So this is something to consider and look into. So I would just encourage you to do that. And with that, I think, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff, but I had a mayor's meeting in the WCCC meeting. Most of that's about budget cuts and more taxes. So we had some candid conversations between the mayors and with the chair of the Washington County Chair Harrington. Anyway, about please don't raise fees because we're dying over here in North Plains. And we need revenue. So with that, council calendar, we are gonna need to swap some boards and commissions, and Lori already started this, thank you. So I'll pick up MPAC, yes, please.
Okay,
I would like to rotate off of Mac, but I know we also have two members coming on, so maybe we can kind of hold for now, because there won't be to the board meeting until March.
probably,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
We just wrapped that up. I'll hang on to Washington County coordinating, obviously, and then we should need to plug in some holes. But unless council objects, I think we can just wait until we have a full council. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, I think it'd just be easier, in my opinion. And then everybody has their assignments in the calendar, and then does anybody have something they can't make, they need to have covered in January?
If you notice, Counselor Phage took pretty much all the meetings for January, February. That is due to his new position and training or.
Do we need to make an announcement, have some cake?
Yeah, I gotta do this, Kelly said. So I have to, my time's gonna be gone. And then the first year, so they can do with it, whatever they want for the scheduling. I have no say in it. So I do know that my schedule is until March. Or the end of March. I do know that, because they're courteous to do that. Say, here is your new trade schedule. So I filled up, I ate as much as I can. As far as the committees go.
Yeah.
When I know I'm actually there. If you guys wanna change it, I may or may not be there, I don't know. I have zero say over my time, I can't call in sick. I can't take vacation, so my new job is like, you're here or you're not, so.
Yeah, enjoy it, you'll be on a lot of graves, but congratulations, we're proud to have you, go through that, it won't be fun, but it'll be great when you're done, it'll be awesome, you'll be proud of it, we're proud of you.
Well, and that gives the rest of you another month
Yeah, there you
to
go.
get your schedules to me.
Perfect.
Counselor Redding got me hers already, but the rest of you.
Yeah, I'll get you mine. I just started another job, so I'll get you mine. It's crazy. Let's see, anything else? Let's see, city count. Oh, I do want to point out, thank you, Lori, for putting this in. Please do not show up on January 19th. We won't be here. We'll be here on the 20th. Because the 19th is MLK Day, so there will be no council meeting on the 19th. I just want to make sure I call that out. And then, Bill, is there anything, or Lori, anything on this, the PVAB and the family piece split? That's not under yours.
About the Family Justice
I
Center?
guess I'll say it. I was thinking that was
The new-
yours. No, that's housing. Sorry, wrong commission.
But I know.
Oh.
Yeah, this one isn't aren't represented.
Yeah,
on it,
oh,
but
that's right.
other than our deputy Schutz, his wife is runs the place, so. But she shared that information with all the city recorders in Washington County, letting them know about the move, the new name.
Yes, and if you're available, you should go by and say hi. They would love, well, I hope they would like to see you. If they don't, that would be good. But yeah, property value, I haven't had to do that in Oregon, the property value appeals board, I've had to do it on a rental. It's no fun, but if you need to get that done, good luck. And with that, is there anything else? All right, I'm gonna call us adjourned at 8:45.
Congratulations.